Hi and welcome to this video on our ACD multi-sensor in regard to testing this particular product out in the field. Before we start, click the subscribe button and then the bell icon to be notified of all of our new video content. Hopefully most of you watching will be familiar with our ACD. It's our most sophisticated sensor brought to market to date. It features three sensing elements: an optical smoke chamber, a heat thermistor and a CO sensor. And between those three sensing elements and some very clever software, the ACD can learn from its environment from the moment it's installed, meaning it's always just as sensitive as it needs to be to ensure it recognises and ignores false alarms, whilst at the same time reacting quickly to the indications of a real fire. Now, under BS 5839 Part 1, it's recommended that fire systems should be tested every 12 months as part of a regular maintenance plan to ensure the system is fit for purpose at all times. And this, of course, includes testing each and every sensor on that system, albeit that these could be scheduled for testing in phases on quarterly or 6-monthly visits, for example. But when it comes to multi-sensors that have multiple sensing elements, each of those sensing elements needs to be tested individually to check that it will respond to that criteria. The smoke chamber needs to be tested with smoke, the heat thermistors with heat, and so on. So how exactly does the engineer test a product such as the ACD with its three different sensing elements? Well, originally separate testing equipment was developed for each type of sensor, with a tool that delivered test smoke for optical smoke sensors and tools that could deliver heat to test heat sensors, and some that could release small amounts of CO from an aerosol to test the CO sensing elements. But as multi-sensors became more prevalent, cheaper to install and more sophisticated, maintenance engineers were having to take a whole bag of testing tools to site to cater for each and every type of sensor, until someone had the bright idea to combine all of these tools into one. Testifire from Detector Testers is an all-in-one test solution which can perform multiple types of tests at one point, saving time on site as well as saving space in the engineer's van. It comes in two models, one that can test traditional smoke and heat multi-sensors, and one that can also test multi-sensors such as the ACD with its three sensing elements: smoke, heat and CO. The Testifier is completely self-contained and utilises replaceable cartridges for the smoke and CO testing. And it fits onto the standard range of solo access poles, so it can be used on sensors installed up to 9 meters. The cartridges are easier to ship and store compared to the traditional aerosol versions, and they're far more efficient in how they release the test smoke and CO, saving around 18% in costs compared to the aerosol equivalents. Now, combining all of those tests into one unit means there's a very obvious saving in time spent on site. The Detector Testers, the manufacturers of the Testifier, claim that compared to testing with traditional solo test tools, Testifier can deliver 40% faster testing. This is mainly achieved through use of a pre-programmed sequential test incorporating a clearing mode, whereby the Testifier clears itself of any residual test smoke or CO gas between tests. So the engineer doesn't waste time waiting for the sensor to clear itself, and there's no re-alarm. And because there's no need to carry multiple tools, the engineer also doesn't waste time switching between them. So the Testifier saves time and money, but how exactly does it work when testing Hochiki's ACD multi-sensor with CO? Well, the ACD can operate in one of 24 different operating modes, but the good news for the test engineer is that depending on control panel compatibility, you don't need to determine which mode is in play before you test it. And this is because when you place your control panel into a walk test, all the ACDs will be responsive to all test types for the duration. At this point, the sensor LEDs will go out, indicating they are ready for testing. The Testifier is pre-programmed with test sequences, so you simply choose whether you're going to perform a heat and smoke test for a 2-criteria multi-sensor or a heat, smoke and CO test for a 3-criteria multi-sensor such as the ACD from the on-screen menu. To start the sequence, you simply hold the Testifier over the sensor and it will then run the first test cycle, with the sensor indicating which sensing element is being tested by flashing its LEDs in a unique pattern. Now, being in a walk test, as the sensor activates, the red alarm LEDs will illuminate for just a few seconds until the panel resets the device, turning the LEDs back off. You can remove the Testifier at this point. The green polling LEDs will flash again before the panel puts the sensor back into walk test. Once the sensor polling LEDs are turned off, you can offer the Testifier back up to initiate either a clearing mode or the next test sequence. When all the tests in the sequence have been completed, the Testifier flashes and beeps to let you know. So, when testing multi-criteria sensors such as Hochiki's ACD multi-sensor with CO, we're recommending the Testifier 2000 as a simple but effective testing solution. For further information on the ACD, please visit our website at the address coming up on screen in a moment. And further information on the Testifier can be found on the Detector Testers website, and we'll place a link for that in the video description below. Don't forget, you can also follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook to keep up to date with our latest news. See you next time.